Welcome to Marvel Maniac and MCU After Show. This is your host, Eric Cicada, aka Mr. Honest. Today, we jump into something that came out nearly 3 years ago. See, I started Marvel Maniac in 2021. Here's my short backstory before we go into this, because I do want to give you my generation why. This is being covered so much later than when released. I went through a bit of a mental health crisis, and I want anyone and everyone, if you're going through something, talk to someone, because I got help, and I had to put the podcast on a major halt, and it kind of picked it up, put it back down while recovering. And all I have to say is I'm sad that I missed Miss Marvel as it came out, and I believe it would have been the first show. I think Moon Knight was. That's why I covered it first. But it was one of the few things that I hadn't covered in Phase 4. We're pretty much caught up. I got a few more things to cover, like before I catch up, as I'm covering the new things and also going back into the things that I missed. And I'll give you my honest reasoning. Mainly, also, is that I thought this was more of a kids show. My mindset was kind of like, this is what they're doing for the younger audience. And while that's not fully incorrect, the idea of not watching this show because it's in your head a kid's show, it has an MCU feel. It takes a little bit to get into, but once you kind of figure out the tone, there's a lot of sincerity, and there's a lot of there's just a lot of excitement that comes with this show. I love her family. I can't but help but acknowledge that her family is a huge part of the story, and maybe that's another part. I was like, oh, she's family, her mom doesn't let her do this or that. Technically her mom is the antagonist of the first episode, but she's just looking out for her daughter. And though that being reason why I'm so late to the party here, and I'm excited to be here because it was a good show, and I want to cover the Marvels after we watch this, because this does go into the Marvels. We get to know characters on a level of if they had a trilogy, if they start off in a Disney Plus show. That's one of the positives. 6 full hours of Kamala Khan, some probably shorter, 40-minute episodes, I'm guessing. But 6 full hours of getting to know Kamala Khan, aka Miss Marvel, crafting her into a superhero from not a nobody, but from someone who, is just a fan on the beginning. And that's what I love about this first episode. You get so much of who she is as a person before she gains any immediate powers. And I don't know why, but this time watching Miss Marvel, with covering it for you, I guess maybe I pay more attention, or it might be the fact that she's just settled in my brain as this character now. There's nothing new about this in a way where I feel very comfortable, it's old friends, these characters by now for me. So I'm going to try and not go over and spoil the Marvels and spoil the rest of the season. I want to go episode by episode and just keep it nice, simple after show for this. And I'm sorry I'm bringing you on the outskirts. It's your Marvel Maniac exclusive. You get to know why I'm doing this stuff. Anyway, I think the tone in this show, it's so bright and vivid. I might have said that. I really like the comic-y feel you get from it in the beginning moments. Kamala is a dreamer, and I can relate to that. And I think a lot of young people look up to their heroes and want to see how much of them they can bring out in themselves. And that's kind of the special thing about superheroes in the MCU and in real life. We look up to these people. We see ourselves in them. And Kamala sees herself as Captain Marvel, and she doesn't hesitate to tell you why. She goes over the whole end of Battle of Earth. She's got a podcast inspired by Scott Lang, making his own podcast, and he has a book which you can buy on Amazon. I might actually want that. And I can never think of the name. Something about Look Out for the Little Guy, something like that. I always screw that up. I'm sorry, Paul Rudd. That movie's underrated too. Anyway, okay, spoilers for Daredevil, slight spoilers. There's a character crossover in that episode from Miss Marvel. So that kind of got me excited to start watching this too. And that goes into why, I'll talk through the episode, why I love her family, and I think her dad is maybe one of the most underrated comedic performances of the MCU. I think he's hilarious. In the overlay, there's a lot of Scott Pilgrim energy in this first episode. I don't know if they really go with that super pop wall art. It's probably expensive, but they have some really nice visuals in this show. Yeah, like Scott Pilgrim versus the World. I haven't seen it in so long, but it kind of meets the MCU in a sense. Um, it's a big visual splash to start the whole show, and just she hones in on Captain Marvel like the hero that she is. I don't know. I mean, people like Paul Rudd doing podcasts and books get to fill us in on what really happened at the battle, and the average person, it seems, in this world knows what happened at the Battle of New York. God, does it feel good to be talking about the Battle of New York? Maybe that's because that was in 2012. I'm talking about the Battle of Earth. I'm still getting my facts straight. The Battle of Earth, where Captain Marvel smash through Thanos' ship. You cut to Thanos and his jaw quivers. If you think of that, like he actually got scared and actually realized when Captain Marvel arrived that they are effed. They were effed. And that's when the whole battle, the tide of the battle turned towards the Infinity Gauntlet that was there. Thanos' last chance to save everything he's ever had. Underestimating these Avengers and how time would play out and how he would actually get the stones. Oh my goodness, you're getting me caught up talking about Thanos. It's that fangirl energy. All right, she is such a fan. I'm like a Thanos fan. We learned how to make stickers in the group chat today or the other day, and I made a couple Thanos ones, and I love them. Still love him. I can't wait to see him in Secret Wars. Even if his spine gets ripped off by Dr. Doom right in front of our eyes to just make Doom a more vicious character, kind of like what Thanos did to Loki. The show brings a lot of culture, Pakistani American home life, rules, expectations, the love of her parents, but they kind of have a lack of understanding at the same time. But you know, the lack of understanding comes with this like ignorant bliss that I guess it's just something maybe you grow a little bit older and instead of being embarrassed, you can laugh at. Because when Kamala's mom was trying to tell her, you can go to the thing, she doesn't know her obsession with Captain Marvel all the way. So she makes her an outfit. And it's, and we see through Kamala's eyes easily, this is embarrassing. But then when her dad comes in the room, it's like, oh, he's all green. I genuinely got a laugh out of that. Like every time I've so far watched this show, like the dad is a funny character, and I think I underestimated that, especially as like I watched it the first time. He's a very, very good addition to this cast. Bruno, her Kamala's ride or die bestie type. We get to see him kind of hype her up this episode when she's feeling low, and there's a little tiny bit of like a connection there. Like they could make it a love story if they wanted, but at the same time, it's just nice having like a strong male-female friendship every now and again on a show or a movie, you know, set some cool standards for, you know, women not always having to be the prize at the end of the mountain. I don't know. I sound too woke right now. I'm not trying to, hey, let's just keep going. The bangle is discovered. And this is nonchalantly discovered when, in reality, I think this was going to be a huge part of the Kang Dynasty and the Avengers. And same thing with Shang-Chi's rings. Yeah, so that's not going to happen. But, you know, there's still things that they could retcon and make sense of with the Bangles. Like, we know the Bangles can do a lot of things from a future thing we'll talk about, which is the Marvels. I don't want to we might have all seen it, but in respect for this after show and moving into the movie after we watch all 6 episodes of this, it'll be a little bit more fun to like hold back thoughts on all of that. But we are led into her world, and it does take like a full hour to kind of get everybody in and get a good feel for who Kamala is in this first episode. I think it's one of the most solid first episodes of a show, especially in getting to know Kamala. You know, with the, just emotional moments, the moments where she can't do what she actually wants to, the dreams she has, her aspirations. The bangle kind of changes all that for her in the last half of the show. No, maybe like the last 1/8 of the show. It unlocks cosmic powers, but not a mutation. Well, again, this show, it's hard not to talk about the future of the show when you know it. This is one of my first. We're going to do it with Loki season 2 as well, because that's very important to the next Avengers movie, I believe. Her powers go wild on stage when she's at Avengers Con. By the way, I want to go to Avengers Con. I bet that's just Comic Con in real life. I got to get to one of these, guys. Donate to our patreon.com/MarvelManiac if you want me to actually see what a real Comic Con is like. Let me meet all my superhero idols. Let me cosplay as Wilson Fisk, because dang it, I'm a big guy, but one of these days I'll do Iron Man himself as I lose a little bit of weight. That's my superhero side story, and that's okay. You're here for Kamala's story, which is obviously what we're here to talk about today. Going a little more off the script today. But that's maybe because I've been listening to some of my older episodes to see how I've improved. And ironically, in doing that, I've made myself worse. Again, no, jokes aside, I'm happy with who I am. And this episode, we're having a little bit of fun. She's activating her new powers, which in the comics, it's like physically her hand getting bigger and stretchy, but they don't want to make like another Mr. Fantastic. Well, we're just about to introduce him, even though this was almost 3 years ago this came out. At least we've seen the Marvel since then. It's everything's moving slowly, but I feel like it's moving into motion now. She has like a very subtle vision of a mysterious figure when she uses it, which is definitely going to play into the future episodes. She does not have control of it, but the crowd goes freaking wild, except for the part where she accidentally knocks Ant-Man's giant fake head down, and it was rolling around like the Indiana Jones ball, and it was actually like knocking people over and stuff, and just all this mischief was being caused. And at the end of the day, she saved someone, the girl who was like doing the other cosplay, they're doing a Miss Marvel cosplay competition, and this is when all this happened, obviously. And the girl was like, "Oh, can I get a picture with you? You can go to my parties." And yes, she's cool now, but she's also very embarrassed and taken aback because she has no idea what just happened. It probably won't take them long to figure out that it is the bangle, but she is kind of getting with great power comes great responsibility lesson, like immediately instead of a little bit later. But is she having a hero moment in there? Yeah, a little bit, at least to herself. She's very much like an oddball in her school, but she's got her great circle of friends who I like. I think we get to know them a little bit better through the show. And, I'll be honest, like, I don't know how much more they go into her podcast / whatever she's doing at the beginning of the episode, but I'm excited to see if they do pick up on that. I don't remember if they do or not. I like that. I like that side of her. I'm a podcaster. I like that she's a podcaster in a way. So the fact that like we're getting a hero that's a fan of a hero and then becomes an accomplice to that hero in a somewhat superhero team up, it's really cool. And there's a lot of cultural identity in putting out a Muslim or Pakistani character. I think it's fantastic. The world has many colors, and I think it's for me. I don't look at things really like that. I'm just like, is this a cool hero or not? She's a very cool hero, and there's a lot of setup in this episode for the whole series. Like, who sent the bangle? I swear they said it in this episode. It's hinted at who sent it. We'll talk. The bangle becomes the centerpiece in a few episodes. That's all I'll say. And where is this going? Well, we shall see. We get a post-credit scene as well in this, and we get Agent Cleary. He's the DOCD guy from No Way Home. He's reviewing Kamala's powers, which are obviously caught on tape. And damage control is where he's working for. So they're clearly positioning her as someone that they want to watch. This show does, and at this moment, make damage control a threat. And they're supposed to be something that like is more of a helpful situation, but it seems like power is being abused. The hard moment in this episode is when she lets her mom down, the low-key antagonist, and her heart breaks because she knew, Kamala, how much her parents would be upset if she didn't tell the truth. I was a rebellious kid too. I actually have a vivid memory of being told not to leave my house and like me leaving on my bike the whole day. I never got in more trouble, was more yelled at in my life. I was like a hormonal teenager who wanted to like just go against every rule my parents put up for me. So like I know what it is to be a teenager and stuff and have impulses. And at the end of the day, you're not going to have that FOMO. You're going to jump out of your window and you're going to go do that thing you want to do. I'm not encouraging kids to do that. I'm just speaking from experience. The Bengals' origin feels super important for the future and in general. Like even after the Marvels, there's still questions to be asked. What the heck is up with these Bengals? Alien tech, quantum realm. Does it even matter anymore now that the Kang Dynasty ain't happening? Or can they really retcon these as a different type of, tool while fighting Doom in Doomsday? This came out definitely when the Age of Kang the Conqueror was ahead of us, and that movie would have come out apparently by now. Well, probably wouldn't have been great. Everything happens for a reason, right? Now, while she does carry the name Miss Marvel, and she's yet to actually earn it in her series, her powers are completely 100% different than Carol Danvers. And I will accidentally call her Captain Marvel probably like 60 times during this watch. But we're talking about Miss Marvel and Captain Marvel at the same time right now. So these powers have a different origin. They don't come from the Infinity Stones. The bangle and the rings, like Shang-Chi, they have a mysterious origin that I think might have to do with the Celestials in the Eternals. And I hope that over time the Eternals gets more and more appreciated for what it was, because it was a big step outward for the MCU that I thought was really cool. And I thought it really put like everything else on a bigger scale. And they, I'm not going to get too far off on that, but what do you think? MarvelManiacPod@gmail.com. What did you think of the first episode of Miss Marvel Generation Y? Is it a hit, a miss? Did you watch it all before, and like, did this episode grab you, or did you kind of have to stay put because the next one's ready and I need to binge watch all of these? I don't remember if it came out all at once. I have a feeling it was week to week. I'm outside of Chicago. Like, if there was an Avengers con, like anywhere in like, there's a lot of safe areas in Chicago, but I know we got a bad rep. But there's a, place we can have our own Avengers con. Would you go? Or what about an Honest First con? Mr. Honest, Marvel Maniac con. No, I understand. Silence speaks volumes. Well, I would really love to hear what you guys think about Miss Marvel. And hey, throw me anything about the Marvels in general. I'm open to hearing all your theories, especially about the Thunderbolts, Asterix. We're going to start renaming that movie after maybe this week. I want everyone to be able to see the movie without spoiling anything. So go see the Thunderbolts. It's a must-see cornerstone movie of this saga, in my opinion. It was fantastic. And I'm going to do another episode on it sooner than later, because it was one of my favorite Marvel movies in years. Yeah. Well, and, I'm trying to keep this Miss Marvel episode separate from the outside world so this can kind of stand on its own. But it is a little bit of a representation of where we are in real time while recording this, and how it's been a bit since this show's come out. How has it aged for you? MarvelManiacPod@gmail.com. When you watched it, when it came out up to now, does Kamala Khan / Miss Marvel kind of like, has she grown on you so much like me, for the point that like I could really watch the show and be super happy into it when I see all the characters, like her brother, her dad, her mom even, and then her fighting that. I just like the character. It's kind of in a nice little place in the MCU, a comfy little corner where she's getting to know her powers. But this show goes in wicked directions, and if you haven't seen it, I won't tell you why. We'll just show you. 6 episodes of the show. Depends on when Ironheart does come out. So if I'll release like 2 a day, just to get these done on time. However, from where I'm looking at it, I'm gonna be honest, I think we got the time to do this whole show week to week. And on Fridays, I'm not going to be doing all Miss Marvel. Anyone who doesn't really want to listen to these, stick with our Friday episodes. We're going to be sticking to movies, MCU movies, and future incarnations. What do I mean by that is X-Men. We're going to talk X-Men. We're going to talk Deadpool. We're going to actually have to do Thor: Love and Thunder. I'm sorry if you hated that. I'm going to try and do the brightest review I can on that. As far as series go, after probably Ironheart, we're going to do Loki season 2 episode by episode. We did cover all the season in one episode when I came back, but it deserves its own breakdown. It's a huge show, the best show on Disney Plus, and in period. And I love Loki, so we're going to be doing that too. Just a little hint of what's in the future for you. Miss Marvel only lasts 6 weeks, maybe even just for the end, I'll specially do 2 in 1 week, but I can't promise you anything. We will continue to break down her journey week by week, as I think it was premiered. Yeah, so thank you for being here. I know it's been kind of a shorter episode. It was actually meant to be even shorter because it's just the first episode. But it means a lot that you're still here if you're still listening. Marvel Maniac Patreon, and we are Marvel Maniac Pod on all of your socials. give us an email at MarvelManiacPod@gmail.com, and there's a tip jar in the About section. Never expected, always accepted, always appreciated. Yeah, so you have a wonderful rest of your week. I'll see you Friday. I don't know what I'm covering yet. I told you guys about doing a Phase 5 review, and it turns out Phase 5 ends with Ironheart. So I'm not going to be doing that for a while. Phase 5 review is on the back burner until we finish Ironheart, which is a long time away, depending on how they release Ironheart. Every MCU show gets gotten released differently over the past year or two. So let's just see when it comes on. I'm looking forward to being there with you. And until next time, Avengers, disassemble.